Hi, it's Mel Power and welcome to today's show. I have one of my favourite, not only friends and guests today, but she's just a powerhouse woman in the bookkeeping and accounting profession, and she's just made some great inroads with her business, not only helping her clients, but also growing a beautiful team and creating a fabulous culture for them to have in the workplace. So here I have with me today the indefatigable Kim Hammill. How are you? Hammill. Look, I can't get my words right.
Oh,
Hello, Kim.
I'm very good, thank you. And thank you, Mel. Thank you for those lovely words.
It is so delightful to be able to have some time with you today. And, I'm just going to jump in and say, please share with us all a little bit about you and where you're from and why you do what you do.
So I'm from a small town in New Zealand, in our south of Christchurch, as Mel said, Ashburton. It's an agri town, so we're kind of in the country. I started my career working for an accountancy firm in Christchurch and always used to look, I used to do payroll, lots of different payrolls, and the books would come in and I'd always look at the different businesses and I'd always try to identify, why does that business go so well, why does that one not? And anyway, fast forward I guess to 11 years ago, and I decided to take the plunge and go into business for myself.
Ooh.
Basically left my job and set up at home.
Entrepreneurial spurt happened.
Yes, and a bit of a mid-age crisis probably as well. But that's what I decided to do, and I won't lie, it was pretty stressful. But over the years, I built up a pretty good little practice, but something was always just missing, I guess. I knew I could do better, but yeah. And so that's when I met Mel and came on this program. It's changed.
So I think it's I guess part of the reasons why I set these chats up with amazing people like you is there's always a point in time where business people think there's that niggling kind of feeling, and you just mentioned it then, that something wasn't quite right. What do you think the moment was for you that you went, oh, I've got to change something?
I definitely would have been the bookkeepers conference. That would have been 2 years ago, up in the North Island, and meeting you, Mel, and hearing you talk, and a lot of what you said just resonated with me, that I was running my business like every other accountancy practice and bookkeeping practice in New Zealand, and while I was making reasonable money, it just wasn't it wasn't amazing, and I wanted to go to the next level of amazing. And so what you said to me, Mel, resonated with me, and I could see that if I took this on, that I would be able to move to the next level.
And so when we talk about that moment, what was the specific thing? Or I can't even remember what I said. I usually do that. What was it for you at that time that you think, oh my goodness, that one thing? Like, can you remember what it was?
Oh, it would be command the price you deserve, definitely. Like I was probably quite timid, even though I am an outgoing person. I think around clients I was quite timid 2 years ago. And actually one of my staff members talks about how much I've changed as a business owner. And she talks about, no wonder we're getting all of this work, Kim, because your attitude has changed and you no longer let the clients dictate to you how it's going to be, I guess is the way. Yeah. So that would be the biggest shift.
It's that becoming you 2.0.
Yep.
And I know we talk a lot about this, and it's when we first start out in business, we're often operating because we've come from a job, right? And so
Yes.
we learn to behave in a certain way, and we learn to do things in a certain way, and we take those learned behaviors into our next adventure, which if it's a business, well, then we bring those behaviors and processes with us. And what happens is that those learned behaviors won't serve us if we need to step into that role as the CEO and lead the business. And that's exactly what you've just talked about. And I've watched you over the last couple of years, go on that journey. So let's go back to the conference. We talked about commanding the price you deserve. You knew that you needed to do something. What were the things that you identified and then made changes to in the business that was, really the catalyst for helping you get to where you are now?
So scoping would be a big thing, scoping the work properly. So
Yep.
instead of just getting a job in the door and going, oh yeah, it's a farm, just like the farm up the road. It'll be, this will be what's involved. I
Yep.
now go and visit my clients and scope
Great.
work properly. I find out, and to be fair, you still don't actually pick up everything, but you get a
Yeah.
good feel for what's needed and what needs to happen, and then taking that and using all of your calculators, Mel, to work out, well, actually, what is it going to cost to do this work and what should I be charging? And the second thing would be doing, when I do the proposal. So I now do a proposal. I write a story at the beginning about what we found, how we
Yeah.
can help them, and then giving them the offer of the 3 different
Yeah.
options and recommending the one that we think is the one that would best fit them.
Yeah. And so what's been your experience with clients before, like the comparison before when you were doing things in, just say an hourly billing and give them a quote and emailing you off, to now where you're actually going and scoping the work, really understanding what's going on with the client and giving them options. What have you seen has been the differences in the way that clients behave when presented with that change?
I think they find us to be more professional. Not that
Mm.
we are more professional than we were before, but I think that's a perception that we're presenting this well-written proposal. We're giving them options. We're talking to them. We've taken the time to scope the work and understand what it is that they need. Would be probably the biggest thing that I guess is the difference. And the fact then that some of them don't come on board over that
Yeah.
proposal process is absolutely, that's okay, because actually we don't want to work with them if they don't see the value and what we can do for them.
Yeah, and that's going to lead me to my next point. And this is something that obviously I know you and I would both hear this all the time within our particular communities that we hang out in with other bookkeepers. A lot of bookkeepers are afraid to make the shift because of the objections that come
Yeah.
up. And so, what are your views on that when people price object? How have you handled that? And more importantly, obviously, it's shown you that that's a point where clients will go no, and you think, oh, maybe I don't want to work with them. Tell me about that process of how you manage and handle those objections and what it means for you.
Um, I guess that, it would be for me. It's a phone call. I know Mel would
Yeah,
encourage you to
that's
go.
okay. Phone calls, great. Yep.
We live, a lot of our stuff's a big drive away to go. Where I can, I
Yes.
sit next to someone, but a phone call, and and then they might raise those objections. So I'll just talk through, well, why it is. I don't ever get into the hourly rate.
Good.
I'm
Yeah.
asked that often, what's your hourly rate? And my standard answer is always, well, we don't work on hourly rate. We work on a fixed fee price. So if you choose option 1, this is what's included in option 1, and that's what we will do for you every month, irrespective of how long it takes to do. That's what we will deliver for you. And so then at that point, they'll either decide it's too expensive. So and at that point, I will just then very graciously say, well, we're still here. If you change your mind, or if you have any more questions, feel free to call and basically let them go on their way. Sometimes they don't fit because it's not our core work. That would be the other
Yeah.
thing. If it's
Yep.
not our work, we won't take it on. And then I've got, in New Zealand, I'm part of the Bookkeepers Association, so I know a lot of other bookkeepers that I know specialise in certain areas, so I'll pass the work on.
That's great. So, I mean, you really are really honestly commanding the price that you deserve now, and you're really identifying who the clients are that you want to work with. And I often giggle and say that getting the right clients is often like putting the Harry Potter sorting hat on. You kind of
Yes.
put it on, a hat says go here or go there, and I kind of have a giggle to myself. That's really what we're doing. So a couple of things here that I can see out of that is that some of the changes that you made is the first thing is you're really taking the time to diagnose
Yep.
really what the problem is by scoping the work. And then you're also taking the time to present to the client the findings of that scope and then giving them a couple of options to choose from. So essentially what you're doing is you're stopping people from price shopping you with anyone else. You're getting them to price shop you by giving them
Yes.
options.
Yes. Yeah.
Love it. Love
Definitely.
it. Love it. And so I want us to touch on the third thing that I think is important here, and you talked about it earlier, is the process of change for you personally. What do you think has changed from Kim 1.0 when you first started out to this new and amazing Kim 2.0 that your staff and potentially also your clients are actually starting to recognize that you're really leading this business? What do you think are some of those changes that happened for you?
I think just stepping up as the business owner and not someone, and even though at the moment I'm working in the books because that's just what's happened, but that is a short term thing
Yep.
for me. We're already getting that sorted. And so it doesn't mean that I don't always step in and help out because we are a small team. But for me, my role is marketing and managing the business and making sure the work comes in the door. And when it does, that the processes are all in place and that everybody knows what they're supposed to do. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, is that I'm no longer the entrepreneur that is I'm the entrepreneur that's working on my business and not in it, I guess. So yeah, and so because I can be up there doing that, I can drive
Yep.
things along and that they need to go. So steering the ship, I think that's one of your sayings, is it? Steering the ship. I'm steering the ship.
Yeah, it is. You can steer, and then you've got levers within the pillars of the business of sales and marketing and operations and fulfillment
Yeah.
that you can actually pull when you need to. So, and this is a very common thing that we talk about a lot, is where people get stuck in that, particularly bookkeepers, in that client fulfillment area of the business. We're on the tools and on the books, and it's really hard to steer the ship and get growth if you're down in the weeds all the time, right? It's just,
No,
you can't think. You just
no,
get frazzled.
no.
So amazing. So leadership, ownership, stepping out of the weeds and stepping into the captain's chair and steering the
Yep,
ship would be number 3. I love that.
yep.
I love that. So, they're 3 really, really important things. And I guess for you, what's next for Kim? Where do you see your business in the next 5 years?
Well, I guess I don't want to grow it to be a big conglomerate, if that makes sense.
Does.
I want to grow it so that it's really profitable and that it earns the owner a really good salary, and that I have something, an asset that is worth selling at the end of it
Yep.
when I decide to step back. That's my goal.
I
I'm
love
really
that.
fortunate that I have such an awesome team here at the moment. And I just can't say enough about getting the right people on board to come with you on the journey as well. Be
Yeah.
one of the points. A bit hard to, that's hard work to manage, but yeah, it's worth time and effort. But yes, that would be me. We've still got some legacy clients, I guess I would call them. There's some I probably they need to be moved on maybe, but I've still got to deal with that. And yeah, just really, I guess, having a really good, solid business that's doing all of the things that I wanted to do. So not just the bookkeeping, but being able to provide that financial reporting and being that trusted advisor, I guess, and helping business owners
Yeah.
make decisions. Yeah.
Yeah. And, from what I can see from what we've just chatted about today, that COVID hasn't been a time of downturn for you. It's been a time of growth Look how busy you are.
I know, it's been amazing. And so that's the other thing with being an online business, I guess, is that we saw around us, especially in the agri world, that some some bookkeepers doing agri here just basically had to stop working because it's not online. And I mean, we had an afternoon to sort out taking monitors home and that sort of thing, and that was it. We worked right the way through. We were really busy,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm also seeing in the business world as a whole, that actually people see now, well, you can run your business online. You don't have to have it on your desktop. You don't have to be in the office.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
how much freedom does that give you? It's awesome.
Well, it does, and I've been operating like this since 2014. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, just been businesses, or no longer than that, really, 2012, when, it was really when cloud accounting software really
Yeah, yeah.
started to hit the market. So, we're all kind of, and I know you are as well, early adopters with that. So, my lovely friend, what would be the one thing that you would share today that would encourage other people that maybe are on the start of their journey or in a situation where they just want to get out of the tools and into that CEO seat? What would that one thing be?
I guess the biggest thing for me that I think about is the whole fear factor thing, and to not embrace the fear but to let it go, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. To let the fear go and to just take that deep breath and go and do it, because yes, that will be scary, but the more you put yourself out of your comfort zone, actually the easier it is to put yourself out of your comfort zone. And things will just come along a bit easier. I know you talk a lot about that, Mel, don't you? About if you don't feel uncomfortable, and so your words resonate with me quite a bit. If I'm not, and I'm not doing what I should be doing. So yeah, and so to feel that uncomfortableness and just go and do it anyway, just have the courage. And so,
And
what's
so,
the worst that somebody can say is no. The world won't stop because of that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So it's so true. So my next question to you is, how does it feel the other side of that fear?
Well, it's quite invigorating, I guess. I still feel fear, but because I know that it is just a feeling, I have the courage now, I guess, to step over the mark and go, well, I'm going to do it anyway. I've thought about it and it's a good idea. I'm going to do it anyway. And I guess it that's just opened a whole lot more doors for me. So I see a lot more opportunities, and I go and get them now. I'm not too frightened to say no. I'm not too frightened to say yes, I should say. Yep.
I love that. Kim, thank you so much for taking the time to come along and chat today. And for any of you bookkeepers that are in New Zealand, I really have to share with you, Kim is really a leader in this industry, not just in New Zealand, but also around the world with what she's doing. If you want to follow her and engage with her, obviously you can come into our Command the Price You Deserve Facebook group. Kim's there, but we've also popped details of Kim's website and social handles in the show notes, so you can follow along and see what she's up to and engage with her that way. Thanks so much, Kim. I'm just so appreciative that you came along and we had the opportunity to hang out on Zoom and chat as we
Yes.
do. And I hope the travel bubble is open between Australia and New Zealand in November so I can get over for the Bookkeepers Conference. I'm
Yeah,
really excited
great.
about. Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity, Mel.
Thank you, Kim, and we will talk again real soon.
Great.
Bye for
Thanks.
now.